DevOps versus MLOps. Are they any different? Let's find that out in this video today. But before we do, I'm sure you could relate to the situation of Adam. His system is dragging him down and he has no way out. Are you also stuck in development like Adam and not able to break the shackles? Are you also not able to meet the deadlines and wish you could have someone or something who could guide you to the right direction? Adam has been on the lookout to find the right solutions and methodologies to break through the long development cycles, get his applications tested thoroughly and release them frequently, and finally go live to production with his applications running successfully without any issues, and keep his customers happy and satisfied all the time. I hope you're not in Adam's situation, but if you do share the pain that Adam is going through and have been struggling to find the right tools and processes to help you reach the finish line, then you have two superheroes to get you out of this and be production ready all the time. Here comes DevOps and MLOps to your rescue. You should forget about teams working in silos and acting like each other's mortal enemies. Now you can work on multiple applications simultaneously and increase your release frequency as much as you like, and yet have a truly stable and secure application running in production. The story is not much different if you are struggling to take your machine learning models to production. With MLOps, which derives its fundamentals from DevOps, you can be rest assured that your ML models are perfectly trained and ready for production and are regularly monitored for any drift over time, and you have a working and stable model in production. Let us now try to drill down into what DevOps and MLOps are and how are they different from each other. Before we go any deeper, let's look at the subtle differences between DevOps and MLOps. So we know that DevOps brings the Dev and Ops teams together, working in harmony. We can say that MLOps is an overlay of machine learning over DevOps. Thus, MLOps is essentially based on DevOps and has additional features which make it ready for driving ML projects to success. In DevOps, we have the entire focus on code development and further releasing it into production. When we move to MLOps, it's not just the code that is relevant here. We have data and the key parameters associated with the data that are equally important and play a major role in taking an ML project to production. So MLOps helps in ensuring that the code, data, and parameters are managed in an iterative manner, and thus making it possible to create models frequently and train them rigorously and finally release them to production. The next key difference lies in the hardware dependency in managing a DevOps and MLOps pipeline. As we mentioned earlier, that in DevOps, the key focus is on code development and further releasing it in production. So hardware requirements in DevOps are not resource intensive, as these operations can be easily managed by any regular VM or server running either in cloud or on-prem. These operations normally can complete in few minutes to few hours in certain cases. So when we are managing a DevOps pipeline, the horsepower or configuration of the platform executing the pipeline is irrelevant. However, when we are building ML models, it is a whole new story. Here, model training is key to the success of the entire ML project, and it is a highly resource-intensive process requiring not only the horsepower but the graphic capabilities as well. Normally, complex ML models can easily take hours and even days in some cases. And in certain cases, especially when training deep learning models, the training time can even go into weeks or more. For such resource-intensive tasks, you need to ensure that you have enough number of servers in cloud or on-prem, having the right hardware configuration and sufficient GPUs to execute the training in a meaningful amount of time. As we know, training is an iterative process, and the entire ML project is an experimental science, where we don't know for sure how many iterations it would take for us to reach to the stage where we have a working model that lives up to the requirements of the project. So that becomes a very key differentiator between DevOps and MLOps. Let's now try to dive into the DevOps and MLOps internals and find the differences that make the two stand out as unique solutions for application development and ML model development, respectively. Let's decode DevOps first. As we know, the DevOps process starts with the planning stage, where we have the stakeholders deciding the scope and complexity of the solution to be delivered. Post that, the actual development work starts and the code is being written by developers, which is regularly built and integrated with the central code repository, which is further tested for code bugs or functional bugs, thus ensuring that there is working code ready to be released into the production. This code is then deployed to different environments and finally pushed to production, where the operators make sure that the application is functioning properly and they manage the day-to-day operations. Finally, the application is regularly and thoroughly monitored for any issues reported from within the application or externally via the users. This completes the cycle of continuous development, continuous integration, continuous deployment, and continuous monitoring. So if we have to take the key highlights from the DevOps process, which actually differentiates it from the MLOps process, the first one is the fact that DevOps focuses primarily on code versioning and further continuous integration of this code and continuous deployment of this code, and then further continuous monitoring of the application and the code. We will do the correlation soon to understand how these steps are implemented in MLOps, and that's where the difference lies. We will now try to decode and understand MLOps. Let us now explore MLOps and try to quantify the differences. So MLOps starts with EDA, which is exploratory data analysis, wherein data is explored with the help of different statistical tools and further visualized for better understanding. Post-exploring and validating the data for anomalies and other sanctity issues, the data is being prepared and made available for running ML models on top of that. In the developer stage, the actual model is being developed in the form of code, and the kind of model chosen depends on the type of data and the business problem at hand. Post creation of model, the most important phase of any ML project starts, and that is training, where model is trained against training data, and this process is iterative. And if the model is not able to meet the requirement criteria, then it is rebuilt and hyperparameter tuning is performed, as well as different features or parameters from the data are used. Once a desired model has been created and trained, it is further reviewed and validated against test data. Post successful review, model is deployed in different environments and finally into production, where it is used to perform inference and serve the customers. The model is under continuous monitoring for any model drift. Unlike applications, models can degrade over time, as the live data being supplied to the model evolves over time, which has the potential to leave the model useless if it is not regularly monitored for drift and retrained with new data for better results. This sums up the entire process of MLOps. So if we try to focus on the key highlights from MLOps process, data versioning is given prominence along with the actual model code versioning, unlike DevOps, where application code versioning is of utmost importance. Further, in MLOps, continuous training holds a lot of significance, whereas in DevOps, continuous integration is of primary focus. Further, in MLOps, model deployment and monitoring is in focus, whereas in DevOps, primary focus is on application deployment and monitoring, which is an obvious difference. Finally, there is a concept of metadata store or feature store in MLOps, where the features or parameters derived from the data are stored, so that these can be shared across teams for easy access and management. There is no such concept in DevOps. So in this video, we have tried to highlight the key issues that any application development or machine learning development project faces, and they struggle to make their applications or models go live in production due to system or process or collaboration constraints. DevOps and MLOps provide a standard approach to these teams, helping them bring together different teams to work cohesively and successfully deliver applications or models in a repeatable manner and ensuring quality and security in production. I hope this video has given you better insights into what DevOps and MLOps are and how are they different from each other. As always, keep an open mind and keep exploring more and more. and take your career to new heights. If you found this video helpful, I would request you to hit the like button and subscribe the channel for more such content. Please do share your comments for any suggestions or queries that you may have. See you in the next video. Bye for now.